Hi everyone, good afternoon. It is Alessandra and it is June 19th, Friday, and I hope that you're all happy and healthy. It is another edition of 2 o'clock break with Allie, and I hope that you had a chance to share my chats with all your friends on Facebook and have gone to my YouTube page and subscribed. So, that being said, I wanted to start today with a short story. There was once a pastor who carried around a secret burden. It was for a sin that he had committed back in the seminary. He really didn't remember the sin, but just felt that God hadn't forgiven him for it. So one day he asks a woman in his church who fashioned herself a clairvoyant if the next time she spoke with God, she could ask him if God had forgiven him for that sin. And so the woman leaves, and the next time she sees him, the pastor asks her if she had had a chance to ask God about his sin. And the woman says yes. And so the pastor, anxious to find out what God told her, says, "What did he say?" And she replies to him, "God does not remember." So, isn't that a cute story? Well, it brings up my question for today. Does God remember our sins? As Christians, we acknowledge that God is all knowing, and therefore, in a human sense, God does not forget. It's not like it slips his mind. God just chooses not to remember. He doesn't put all of our sins in a drawer and and save them up and says, "Oh, there's another one and there's another one." In fact, if we went to that drawer, it would be empty. And so why? Because it goes against the nature of God. When we ask God for forgiveness, just like the pastor did, it is granted. He will never, God will never hold on to our sins, and He will never bring them up to us and treat us the way our sins truly need to be truly deserve to be dealt with. And so why is that? Because of the work that Jesus Christ did on earth, we are free. And isn't that good news? In the Old Testament, in the book of Psalms, Psalm 103:12, it says that as far as the east is from the west, so far does He, meaning God, removes us our transgressions, and we are free of our sins. And God, when we come to God, He does not see us as sinners. He sees us as His children. And we know that God is always striving for a relationship with His children. But what sin does, if we don't come to God and ask for forgiveness, is that it cuts us off from God. And when we do come to God and ask Him for forgiveness, His floodgates of His grace is poured upon us, and is poured upon us. So the one thing that though I did want to say is that we cannot ask God for forgiveness and then go on sinning, because true forgiveness and true acknowledgement of that sin, we turn around and follow a different path. And God would know, since He is all knowing, if we are not sincere in asking Him for forgiveness. So you cannot do that. But getting back to our story, the pastor was riddled with guilt for a past sin. But we do not need to worry about that. We only need to step forward in faith and confidence that God will forgive us. And do you know why that is? Because God said so. God said that we were forgiven. So I hope everybody has a very good weekend. And as my father always said, I will see you next time, God willing. Bye, everyone.